Man, witches.
Witches, man. Witches.
Witches.
The Articulate Coven is the original, unofficial fan podcast and community for Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Chronicles, The Lives of the Mayfair Witches, and The Immortal Universe from AMC and AMC+.
Welcome to the Articulate Coven. We are your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. The Articulate Coven's the unofficial fan podcast and community for the Immortal Universe from Anne Rice and AMC and AMC+. I say
That's
AMC
us.
and AMC+. We do the books, we do the movies, we do all of it. We especially like them TV shows, though.
We were even on board when we thought it was going to be Hulu. We don't care. We're
Do you
equal
remember?
Opportunity. We do. We've been here since then.
I think all the time, Ashley, Disney, you could have had me repping for you every day.
Could have had a real one. Disney could be having to pimp out Lestat, which is my favorite thing on the planet. Like, they're like, look at this sexy gay vampire.
Y'all don't know how happy I'm going to be when it does get loaned out and it ends up on Disney Plus, though. It'll get there eventually. It'll get there eventually. We're in a universe where we're cycling all this content around.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do talk about the AMC and AMC Plus shows, especially Interview with the Vampire is our little baby girl, and we're currently covering the sister of the family, maybe the redheaded stepchild of the family, Mayfair Witches, Season 2, Episode 4 tonight, folks.
Episode 4.
The name of this one is Double Helix. I was excited about that one.
Is getting us right along.
Boy, we have I think literally you might have said last week feels a little bit like a filler episode, like we're kind of treading water or whatever. This episode was not a tread water episode. This episode was like, wait, there's only 8 episodes?
Oh, shoot. They did shove a lot of shit into this one. We're getting there.
Yeah, a lot of things happen in this one. I need to do 2 mea culpas before we get started, though.
Oh,
Ashley.
Excellent.
So here's one that came up last week on the show. You and I talked about in the opening scene, Felix and Lasher meet. Our Felix, our little baby vampire from Interview with the Vampire, comes over for a crossover, and the two of them hang out for a little while and talk about morality as an immortal.
Oh, I remember what this is.
Yes, I said I thought it was City Park.
Mm-hmm.
How did I miss the damn cathedral in the background in one of the shots, Ashley? It's
I
Jackson
don't know.
Square.
I've been watching it on a tiny screen, so
Me too.
I mean, we've been watching it on small screens. So honestly, sometimes I can't even see the fucking background. I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole damn thing again on a big screen eventually. But this is where we are. This is where we live right now.
I watched this episode twice, and I watch it once normal, and then I watch it once to take like the minute to minute notes. And I don't know why I thought it was. I was so convinced that it was City. I was so proud of myself. I was like, "Oh, look at you noticing!
Look at us!
No,
look at us knowing
did
where
not.
shit is. No, look at us not noticing the damn cathedral.
Particularly after our rant about the geography of New Orleans an episode before, feels like that was hoisted by my own petard, huh?
Look at you, assholes!
And then this one,
judgy assholes.
This one, Ashley, I messed up a long time ago, actually, but on our Salem's Lot episode,
oh my god, we're going to the Wayback Machine.
You're right. We discussed Bill Pullman's kid playing Ben Mears, and a clip from that just went out on our social media like yesterday or the day before as we record this. We didn't even do it. I thought it was in the content, and I was like, I can't believe we said that out loud. We didn't say it out loud. Just in the caption, I put R.I.P. Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman's not dead, y'all.
Bill Paxton is dead.
Bill Paxton is dead.
Look, listen, that's a classic 90s mistake. That could happen to anybody.
Anyway, on some of the social media platforms, I can change that caption. On TikTok in particular, I could not change the caption.
People are like, R.I.P.
I'm like,
he
whoops.
died? People are like,
Yeah.
oh no! Did that happen today?
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. It's like Brett and I thought that, oh God, the guy from Monk.
Oh.
We were convinced that Tony Shalhoub, both of us thought he was dead. We thought he had died. And then all of a sudden he was getting an Emmy nomination for the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And we had this weird little like
I think he just did a new Monk too, like a Monk movie or something for
Alive and
Peacock.
well. The man is alive and well. We thought he had been dead for quite a while. I don't know. Heart attack.
I go the other way too many times. I end up re-mourning a celebrity like time and time again when I finally remember that they're dead. I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. And then
Kelly's
you're like,
you posted about this on you made a video about how sad you were about their loss. I was like, the
reason why it's back up is because of your memories, bro. Like, that's all you.
Your video is why you're now sad about it.
Again.
Okay, Angela Bonacarrere on YouTube commented on our last video and said, "Dear Harry Connick Jr., please go in and teach this cast the New Orleans accent." Hearts me, a lady who has extensive ties and family in New Orleans who do not sound like Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, it's not. So I really feel like and we had a different comment, I think, from Zach Brahani that was talking about that. We were discussing last week that like high Southern accent, right. What is it? The Good Midnight in the Good Garden of Good.
Right. Evil? Yes. The real thick Southern drawl.
Yes. Now, apparently that's referred to as the Piedmont accent, which totally makes sense that it would have a snooty name, by the way.
Of course.
I'm sure that's named for a place. It's not like snooty.
It is totally. We're just being
sounds snooty. Anyway.
We don't like rich people. We're so annoyed.
I think too often, when I hear the Foghorn Leghorn, that's what I sort of think of. It's like the Piedmont accent. And it's funny because one of our Louisiana senators has a totally false and created Foghorn Leghorn accent.
I love it. I love a put-on accent.
I mean, I would too if he wasn't like actively selling out our resources and people.
Yeah. No, it's psychotic. It's just such a tell.
It's crazy for him, especially because you can literally go back in time and watch video of his early career. I think he was once even a Democrat, like filed as a Democrat. But regardless, he used to, before he decided to go into national politics, he used to just be a guy and he sounded like just a guy. And then suddenly he was like, I got to go. Well, the only way to get to Washington, sir, is to do the dance and shuffle, and it's like, don't.
Oh my God.
Don't do that. Anyway, yes, I agree. Harry Connick Jr. could teach you, man. I saw a great impression. And I don't know the comedian, but it was a comedian from New Orleans. He was on, I think, The Tonight Show. And he was talking about a real New Orleans accent, unless you got lots of money. A real New Orleans accent is honestly pretty, you're going to think it's New York if you just hear it somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
You're going to think, they're probably from Brooklyn.
Especially if you haven't heard that type of New Orleans accent before. Like if you haven't heard that, you'll be like, shit, where are you from? New York? And there's like, no, I am like literally from the swamp.
Yeah. I think his line was like, you take the Brooklyn accent and you put it 2 beers in. So you just like lay it back slightly and slow it down a little bit. It's like, where the fuck you going? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, I'll go.
Yeah. I love it. One of my favorite things about Cajun accents too is that like the way that I had a roommate in college named Elena. She's gorgeous and fabulous and I loved her. She would say instead of like asking a question, she wouldn't say, "Are you going to the store?" She'd say, "You going to the store, huh?" Like make a statement and put "huh" on the end, and that is now a question.
Making
you got
groceries.
rehearsal tonight, huh? You got rehearsal tonight, huh?
That's absolutely a good one. Making groceries is my favorite. I still like to say making groceries. I'm gonna go make groceries. Do y'all want to come? Do you need anything? Whatever. But yeah. Okay. Here's something a little bit more serious, and it doesn't have anything to do with Anne Rice really, other than a huge segment of our audience is American.
Yes.
They're based in the States.
My condolences to all of us.
Yes. In Apple and on YouTube, we don't really get these demographics like this exactly. But one of the things that Spotify tells me now that you can go in and look at, Ashley, and I would send you the stats for this, but it can break down our audience. It shows us like what the percentage is gender wise, what the percentage is age wise, et cetera, et cetera. So like, for instance, our show is like, our audience, I should say, on Spotify at least, is like 85% female, non-binary, or unlisted.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah. Like it's mostly populations that are going to be affected by the current administration and some of the things that are already beginning to happen. And so I thought, why don't we just take each other's, and you and I did this a little bit before we even got online, like, let's health check. How you doing?
Yeah, because I already said I took a mental health day today to Joel.
Yes,
he already knew.
Literally.
He already knew where I was.
Yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. Those of us that are privileged to be able to do that sort of thing from time to time. And even the ones that aren't, there are things you can do in your day-to-day life. And I just want to give you a little pep talk. I want to touch base with you. I want to tell you some things are okay. And I also want to tell you how I'm reacting to it as far as the things that are not okay. Like, right? There are lots of things that are happening now that are not okay, but also aren't anything that you and I can do about moment to moment. Right. We can support organizations that do have the wherewithal to fight on a moment-to-moment basis, in particular the ACLU.
I was literally about to say, the good old ACLU is always a good place to make a monthly donation if you can.
Genuinely.
During these times. During times like
this. You get a tax refund, make the ACLU a beneficiary of that little bonus for yourself. You know, you get a little kickback at work or something, you get an extra something during the month. Throw a little bit of ACLU's way. They're a great example of somebody who is not involved in one of these fights or one of these areas of issue, but in all of them, literally all of them,
and taking very doing actionable work. They are literally suing the shit out of the government in places where ridiculous laws are being passed. So #blessed to them.
Yes. Another big one. Let's talk quickly about social media. I had a friend today ask me like, hey, I'm worried about posting negative opinions of the current administration on social media because like all of these companies showed up at the inauguration and they all gave money and they all seem to be excited about things that he's doing. Personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I am not an expert in these fields, but it seems to me there is one of them whose platforms I'm not on and haven't been on for a long time, Mr. Elon Musk over on X. He seems to genuinely be excited about some of the nastier aspects of what is currently going on. I say that because he's actually in the administration. Doesn't make any sense, but there he is.
Legitimately done a Nazi salute at our inauguration.
Actively saluted. Yeah, I mean, and you can say what you want to, y'all, but that was a Nazi salute, and we all know what it was.
See, and if it wasn't, all you have to say is, oops, my bad. That's not at all what I meant. I got overexcited, and that was just a crazy arm move I made.
Instead, he made a post on X that literally listed a bunch of Nazi puns. That was his idea of how to respond to that.
Yeah.
So I think he is not a guy to post anything to. And genuinely, there were rumors that he might be involved in the takeover of TikTok. If he is involved in that, my stuff and our stuff won't get posted to TikTok anymore. I'm sorry, guys. I like TikTok, and I hope it survives. My wife already has stopped posting. She says it's a zombie app, and she doesn't trust it anymore. Somebody said it got pet cemeteried, and dead was better.
Oh, no. Well, I like to say the only thing I'll dead name is Twitter.
Yes, I'm with you. Okay, so other than that, though, I think all of these companies and all of these CEOs, Sundar Pichai with Google and Zuckerberg over at Meta, primarily, but also I feel this way about Apple. Tim Cook was there doing all these things too, right? I think none of those people actively support what this person is doing. Two of them are directly affected. Sundar Pichai could be affected by these bullshit immigration policies currently going on. And Tim Cook is an open gay man. So it wouldn't be very good for either one of them specifically. But I think they're both very focused on making money. And the other thing that I have to remind myself is this is not the first despotic light or despotic full government that they have done business with actively. They do business all over the world, and they go and visit all over the world those same despotic governors and rulers, and they make all sorts of interesting deals in some of those places, including Apple gave up control to their servers or what, if you're an Apple user in China, the Chinese government has access to those servers, just like they do every other Chinese business. Whereas the rest of the world, they don't have access to the servers. When the US government comes knocking and says, Apple, we need the iCloud data, Apple says, I'm sorry, it's 2-factor authenticated and we don't have the key. if they'll give it to you, you can get it. Otherwise, you're out of luck, buddy. Like, that's the way it works. And sometimes we don't like that because it's a criminal, but like, that's privacy, and that's what we all want. And I think those companies, they genuinely don't have a lot of incentive to give that up. They have shown that they're willing to do lots of wiggle room, though, and lots of rollbacks of things that they seem to actively believe in the past. So anything that you think you need to do to protect yourself on social media, I don't think is crazy.
No.
And I am absolutely being more cautious in what I post and more selective in what I post. Mostly I'm sticking to our group on Facebook, and sharing, the excerpts from this show. So, Ashley, how are you handling that?
I try not to be reactionary. I try to, I going forward, I want to suggest treat your news like you're writing a paper for high school. Get yourself 3 sources. Just triple check your stuff. And that way, you're not talking about bullshit, or you're not being hit with some bullshit. I will say ICE has been all over the state of Arkansas yesterday, today. That's horrifying. If you're sharing information about sightings of ICE, make sure that you're sharing reliable information, preferably that has some photographic evidence with it time stamped, so that we're not sharing fear, we're sharing information. You know what I mean? So that's
and especially because the algorithm will post that stuff for days and days afterwards because somebody comments on it.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. Reliable, accurate information that's obviously, oh, this isn't effective for me now, or yes, it is.
Yeah. We had a business get some arrests and some detainments in a small town here called Russellville, and their mayor's already come out and said, it wasn't Russellville, it was anyway, it's a different small town here, but the mayor already came out and made a statement about it being absolutely deplorable and offensive that citizens of his town were treated that way, and it's wild seeing that in small town Arkansas. You got to take a breath. This is going to be, and think about it in doable increments. So what can I do today? What can I do over the next 6 months? What can I do over the next 2 years? Because that's really when we can move the needle again, is in 2 years. That's when our next election cycle is. And we can really put some new asses in seats in Congress. And I think that's just, you got to take it. You can't eat the elephant. You got to take it a bite at a time. The elephant has to be eaten. This time it's like a metaphorical and literal fucking elephant. We have to eat a bite at the time. But we stick together. We share good information. We share good resources. We make sure the people around us are safe and know that we're safe. Safe people to be around. Don't say it, be about it. You shouldn't have to tell anyone that you're a safe person. Everyone that knows you should know you are. And just make sure that your words and actions are matching that. That's all I can, right now. Tonight, I took today off from work. I took a vacation day. I had a vacation day to kill before the end. And I've had a shit week. And I was like, I just need to unplug. I'm reading books. I'm doing stupid puzzles, doing stupid puzzle games, and I'm going to take a really long hot bath tonight and spa treatment myself out, so just do what you can to self-regulate and to self-care.
Lean into the fiction. We've joked about, at least we've got these gay vampires,
right?
But genuinely, like, y'all, if it's books for you, if it's movies, if it's video games, Kelly and I were laughing the other day about how Animal Crossing saved us during the pandemic, and I wonder if the Switch 2 is going to bring something amazing.
I hope. Please and thank you.
I could use a new Mario Kart this year. Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been very good. My God.
But here's the 2 things that I want to mention. Yes,
can I say 2 real quick before I forget?
Please.
Another, if you just feel really, really I don't know how I can make, my voice here in Arkansas, it sometimes feels like it doesn't matter. I know it matters and it's loud, and fuck anyone who tries to make me quiet. But I know how quiet you can feel and how trapped you can feel if you're surrounded by red, or whatever. But there's a really great organization. It's called postcards to swingstates.org. .org. You go there and you can, I'm pretty sure that's it. God, I hope I didn't fuck it up. It might be
I'll find the link and put it in the show. Make sure you check the show notes.
Yeah, I literally write postcards to other states that might be like have a lot of voters where swing voters matter and undecided voters really do matter. And so I take the time and handwrite postcards to these states. I've been doing it since the first time we were here, so I highly recommend that as something just like an actual pen to paper action that you can do to make yourself feel a little bit more in power.
100%. So I decided, this actually started already the other day. I watched The Music Man, which is a great movie about a con man who convinces a whole town they have a problem, which he'll then solve. But I also, I set up, and I'm about to rewatch two films that I wanted to mention specifically. The Great Dictator from 1940. It's a Charlie Chaplin movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's on Max right now. You can stream it there. It may be in a couple other places too. It's a very old film, so you'd be surprised where it is. It's definitely one that the library would have a copy or two of, I'd imagine, for instance. But it is a great example of, you got to think that came out in 1940. Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. Okay. And this is a movie that directly lampoons Hitler and the Nazi Party and everything that was happening in Europe at the time. And I just think about the chutzpah, the nerve of Charlie Chaplin and the rest of the filmmakers that were involved in that, and the studio to put it out too.
Yeah.
Like, he's actively marching in Europe, and they're like, who's real stupid? A Nazi. That is just dumb as bricks.
Dumb shit, dumb mustaches, dumb.
And then the other one is one of my all-time favorite films, is To Be or Not to Be from 1942. Jack Benny and Carol Lombard. That's the original. So there's a remake of this movie. You need to go, I'm telling you, go watch it like right now. I believe it is also available on Max currently.
Okay.
But that one's from 1942. So again, like 3 years after the invasion of Poland. This one is directly about Poland. Jack Benny's character, he plays an actor who's quote unquote world famous in Poland. All right. He's like the greatest Polish actor alive. And he and his wife are in a ongoing theater there, and they're currently doing Hamlet. He's playing Hamlet. And so every night he's doing the To Be or Not to Be speech. But that movie is about how he and his theater troupe help themselves and a bunch of Jews to get out of Poland, like just as Hitler is taking it all over.
Hell
and again, the whole thing is big thumb in the nose to Hitler and the Nazis. And one of the things that I always loved about Mel Brooks is he's been asked this question like a million times, like, how do you, a Jew, his parents were literally like escaped Europe to get away from Hitler. How do you do this? How do you lampoon Nazis your whole lifetime when you realize what an impact they've made on the world? And he goes, the one thing that a Nazi can't stand is for you to laugh at him.
Yeah.
Like there, and that is so true today, whether you want to use that terminology or not, that label. Trolls is who I'm talking about. Right-wing trolls that we all interact with and have to interact with if we're online at all. All of them are prepared to fight. That's what they want to do. They want to sling shit. They want to call you names and have you call them names. They want to spout incorrect and misinformation facts. They want to argue with your facts. They want to say all of the words that trigger you and have you say all the words that they like to make fun of.
Yeah.
What they don't want to do and what they are not prepared for is to be belittled and to be the butt of the joke. So if you are in a position to do so, laugh at some Nazis. If you are not in a position to do so, if you're in a position to do so, make jokes at Nazis. If you're not in a position to do so, go watch some great movies where people have already made plenty of jokes about Nazis.
Yeah.
The Mel Brooks version, by the way, if you've never seen either one of these, like literally go watch them both. They're both fantastic. 1942 with Jack Benny and Carol Lombard, 1983 with Mel Brooks and his wife Anne Bancroft played the Carol Lombard role in that one. Robert Stack is in the original one, and Tim Matheson plays that role in the remake. Like they're both, first of all, in many places they are shot for shot remakes, which I saw the 83 film first. And when I finally got to see the 42 film on like TCM one night or something, I was like, Jesus, this is ahead of its time. Like I thought these jokes were so cutting in 83, so progressive and amazing. And I'm like, no, Jack Benny made them in 42. It is, anyway, go watch those movies. Both of them are great. And also, like, if you like them, go watch The Pacific. Go watch Band of Brothers. Go watch, listen, you laughingly said that you started doing X, Y, and Z the first time we were here. I like to remind myself sometimes, Ashley, that wasn't the first time we were here either.
No,
right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Like, we survived Andrew Jackson. We survived the goddamn Civil War, right? So, not all of us, obviously, but anyway, my point is,
Andrew Jackson did do some damage on his.
Do what you can do. Do what you can do. And then allow yourself what you can't do too.
Yeah.
When you need to take that mental health day, when you need to just put on the Netflix for a little while or whatever, like, just do it.
I started watching Grey's Anatomy real casually. Just because those people's lives are so fucking ridiculous. It's just nice to watch, like, I don't know, a train crash literally and figuratively at 3 times a season on there, you know?
I watched like 3 episodes of Family Guy the other day, like Family Guy season 5 or something, like wherever I was in my beginnings of a rewatch years ago. I just jumped back in. Fine. Yeah. Give me 3 Peter Griffins in a row. Thank you very much. Actually.
And if you need a little hope, I always recommend a West Wing rewatch.
Okay. Somebody mentioned West Wing the other day and I was like, maybe I just rewatch every episode of West Wing and see, if I do them one a week, will that get me through the whole 4 year? I think it might, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of that's back when television, you had 24 episodes a season.
Oh, all right. Let's get into this episode. This is honestly, this is a better one than last episode. I'll say that in general.
Yeah,
episode 4 was up from 3.
More happened. More was going on. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
There's some weird stuff we're going to talk about, though, for sure.
100%. 100%. This is, it's still what it is. It is what it is.
All right. Name of the episode is Double Helix. As I mentioned earlier, we start with a flashback to simpler time. Yeah, it is like DNA. That's right. If only they'd mentioned even the word DNA in season 1.
No.
We start with a flashback to simpler times, Ashley. Rowan and Lark are together working on a boat.
What's our boat?
Ashley, did they mention boats at all in season 1?
Did we see her on her boat for like one split second?
Maybe
did.
Lasher shows up the first time and she's on the boat.
We saw her on the boat.
We saw her on the boat. That's right. It was just the once and they never went back to it. But like Rowan and boats is a big deal in the book.
Yeah,
Michael and boats is a big deal in the book.
Who's Michael? Who's that guy? I don't know. That guy's not.
Somebody pointed out to me, Ashley, and I had not noticed this. I'd seen all of the titles, but I honestly had not. I'd been trying to not go far ahead in any of the information that I have because we're doing these episodes and I want to do them episode to episode, just like you're doing them. But one of the upcoming episodes is titled Michaelmas. What the fuck are they doing, Ashley? What the fuck are they doing?
What's happening? What's happening? What are we doing?
Okay. But yes, so they did mention boats before. I'm glad we both talked ourselves into that. But I'm glad, again, this is a little peek into book Rowan. This is all... there's so much you forget when you go back and read The Witching Hour. If you haven't done it in a while, or if you've never done it, you're going to start and you're going to be like, what the hell is this? There's
Who
so
is
much
this person?
Where it's just Rowan and it's just Michael in their own little worlds and nothing witchy is happening basically. And like it's a long time before that book gets going.
Good alcoholic carpenter. Like it's just a guy.
He's real good with his hands.
Real good with his hands. Rowan likes those hands. There's a lot of talk about his hands. Because she's slutty in the books, too.
His big, meaty fingers.
We can't say sex. But in the series, because someone's approved, I'm not sure who it is.
I'm going to blame it on Esta until somebody tells me different. Okay, so Lark, we find out why Lark and Rowan split up.
Yeah.
I thought we were seeing happier times. We're not. We're seeing their breakup
We're seeing their breakup, yeah.
And I gotta tell you, it's absolutely Lark's fault. Lark, I don't think Rowan overreacted to this at all. So their career paths were headed in different directions. Lark decides that he doesn't want to be a surgeon, and he's applied for this fellowship or whatever with a big foundation. I think I had it written down, but I don't see it here. But he's going to have to go to New York to start it.
Right.
She's in San Francisco for her residency, or about to start her residency. But he knew this, like, seems like most of a year ago.
At least several months.
Sometimes
it's passed since January.
Because it's not cold.
When he applied, yeah. They're outside working. They're wearing sweaters, but it's not like winter.
Yeah. I mean, that's his fault, man. Like when you're in a relationship like that, and they don't talk about marriage at all. But if they're living together and they're both headed into their residency, and that happened in the same place,
around, you're not in your early 20s. You're an adult. Like you should be having adult conversations.
Yeah, and it's fine. Whatever it is it's fine. But you got to have the conversation.
Yeah, and
then be like, what do we do with this now? And y'all work it out together. Even if that is like, let's all pack our shit and go to somewhere else. That's fine. That's fine too.
Yeah,
but we got to talk about it.
Conversations have to be had, or you're going to break up on a boat.
Yeah. And she pretty much, he's like, oh, can't we talk about it? And she's like, I think you made it clear that we can't. Actually,
you didn't talk to me about it when you did it. So why would you talk to me about it now? When I can't have any sort of opinion about it one way or another.
Meanwhile, Moira is back at the house, and she is quite pissed off that Rowan has not let Jojo and Daphne out of the thrall yet. But Rowan has been sleeping. I'm guessing that she literally passed out because like she was trying to do it. And we've seen her already when she exerts herself magically. She literally gets wiped out.
She gets faint. Oh my. I'm all aflutter.
Where's the fainting couch?
I mean, yes.
Loosen my gusset. It's the Piedmont.
It's the Piedmont, yes.
Yeah, but she can't do it. She can't get she can't release them from the thrall without Lasher.
Not strong enough without Lasher.
What are we going to do? We're going to call the Talamasca and tell him to bring my power demon.
Do a drive-by. Just do a drive-by. Drive-by with my guy. It's cool.
I love that. She's like, just they don't even have to get out of the car.
Just driving by the house. Just pull up.
But
pull up, beep the horn so I know you're here. I'll do the thing. You can go.
I love though, like, what is Rowan's plan here? Does she think that she's going to be able to call them for like a drive-by lashering anytime she wants one?
They're going to just keep him like he has a fucking like car seat in the back of a fucking Talamasca car where they throw him in, strap him in, give him a binky, and drive him by her house so he could take a nappy.
But I love though, she just like, just get your boyfriend Sip over here, and then she just leaves the house. And Moira is like, where are you going?
Moira is all of us. Moira is all of us in this situation. I honestly feel like I was like, Moira, you're my gal. I'm with you in this. This is some fuckery.
I mean, they have all season long. We've talked about how she's the most relatable and most reasonable character, but like in this episode, especially, when she's like, "Where the fuck are you going?"
Yeah, what?
Like, you have 2 family members that are locked in this house. Oh, and also like the magic being that we all created has been stolen.
It's MIA. Yeah, he's been stolen by a rogue psychic.
Oh man. So Moira and Rowan are butting heads about all of this, and right before she leaves, this is honestly my favorite part of Rowan's performance so far. It's the most Alexandria Daddario has been like Rowan the whole time. She goes, "Fuck you, do what I said."
Yeah. And it is true. That is the most Rowan thing that's happened in this entire series.
I mean, we said like a week or 2 ago when she meets the family and they explain to her what the designee can do. That's effectively, she's like, "Oh, we're going to do brain centers then." And they're like, well, we've got some idea. And she's like, "Fuck you, do what I said."
Right. It's my money.
Which, I mean, Ashley, that's exactly how an executive is supposed to lead, right? Isn't that what we've been taught recently?
Fuck
you, do what I said.
Fuck you, do what I said. Except Rage Against the Machine already taught us, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
So, okay, just one more small political thing. That is the thing that's most depressing to me, Ashley, is that I think to myself, the total like destroying of norms. Every president is going to be this way now, whether they're on my quote unquote side or not. They're all going to do, like, for instance, Biden pardoned a bunch of family members and like executives and members of the administration because he's assuming that Trump's going to try to prosecute them. And I understand why he did it. But at the same time, I'm like, now every president is going to pardon their whole damn family on the way out of the office. And that's not the way this is supposed to work.
If he really wanted to pull some fuckery, though, he'd have just given Hillary Clinton like a like you can never touch her kind of pardon.
I do wonder why he didn't pardon her of all the people. I mean, I guess he figures like maybe Trump forgot, but like, anyway. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off track, but I was just reminded.
Look, listen, we are working through some shit right now. We are working through some shit in real time. I'm so sorry.
Talamasca's got to be better than this.
They have floating accents too, though, Joel. What's happening? Do they have a dialect coach on this fucking show, and do they know what they're doing? Sorry, that's out of order.
No, I mean, but I don't.
Not out of line, but like out of order in the episode.
I don't think they do. I think you're right. I do think that's like, I mean, I don't know what the relative budgets are, but my guess is that is literally one of the places where Interview has a budget and this one doesn't. And I will say, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we mentioned the Hatfields and McCoy's show, the miniseries, which I've started, by the way. I haven't finished it yet. Yes, but the first it's like 3 episodes. They're each like an hour and a half or so long. But the first one is the one that has Sam in it, and it's effectively a Romeo and Juliet. That's how it starts anyway. It's Romeo and Juliet story, and he's Tybalt.
Oh my God!
It's so good. He's so good in it. But his accent is not atrocious, but it is varied. It goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I mean, I know like part of it may be his own work and his own advancement as an actor since then.
Right.
But I genuinely think probably they've got some good French dialect folks on set to keep him on point as far as like how Lestat sounds. So anyway, this show does not have that same budget line. I don't think
anyone Southern has ever been on this set.
Which is weird because they filmed some of it in New Orleans. You know that guy that's on the edge of the set? Yeah, just grab him.
Is there a guy selling hot dogs nearby?
Who did you rent that house from, Ashley?
Right.
Just call them in.
Call them. Well, they're probably, when they're talking to those executives, they're probably using their Piedmont accent, Joel, and that's why everybody's confused.
Well, of course.
Of course. I've lived here in the Garden District my entire life. This family's been in my house for generations. Even though no one in New Orleans sounds like that. It's all chicanery. I don't trust anyone anymore.
Boy, that's the truth. All right. So Sip is at the Talamasca jail, which I realized where he was.
Okay. It was like a cross between like Clarice walking into Silence of the Lambs when the guy throws cum on her, and it was a cross between that and then like the holding cells in Cabin in the Woods was another thing.
Okay, that's pretty close. It made me think of Arkham Asylum from the TV show Gotham.
Yes.
On I think that was on Fox.
Yeah.
That their version of Arkham Asylum we saw a bunch of times, and like the first time we saw it, this is exactly what it looked like. It's like one hallway, 4 doors.
Yeah, crazy.
A hall basically into a closet with one person standing in it. You know,
being creepy.
It's like a haunted house set, honestly, is what it looks like.
Yeah, it also has 13 Ghost vibes.
Yeah, very accurate, very accurate. All right, so we see the first thing we see, I'm pretty sure was supposed to be a ghost. It's like shimmering in and out of existence. Looked like a woman, like maybe dressed up like a prostitute, maybe like an old timey prostitute. She didn't have like all her clothes on. It looked like maybe underclothes.
She was wearing some fancy knickers.
Yeah, something. And then we see a man who's speaking backwards and like raising his hands. Looks like some sort of a conjurer. Maybe he was trying to do some magic.
And they've clearly got him kind of on lockdown that he can't.
Yeah. There was like air spinning in his room, but it like couldn't get started. It looked like and then we see a vampire in the last one. Ashley, what the Talamasca doesn't have a jail.
No, what is this? What is the psychic prison?
I mean, y'all, okay, so we just read, no big book spoilers, but we just read Blood and Gold in our book club episodes for this show recently, and we talked about Marius and his existence. And one of the things in that book is Marius deals several times with the Talamasca directly. The Talamasca talked to him about how they had a vampire living with them, but it was literally, he was just living, he was hanging out.
Yeah, he was consensually there.
Like, he came there for protection from some bad vampires that might chase him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look, again, we've talked about it. Vampires got to make the bloody messes because that looks better on TV. The witches got to throw lightning bolts and whatnot because that looks more witchy on TV. Okay. The psychic, my watchers did not need to have a jail, I don't think. I'm worried about this, honestly.
It's going to be like the X-Files.
Yes, it's going to be like X-Files. And that still might be good television, but it won't live up to what I was hoping for from that series.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be kind of X-Files-y, but we'll see. I love the X-Files. I thought that was a great show.
I agree. Hell, I even like the Lone Gunman show. All right, that's our title sequence now, and then we get Sip is looking.
40 minutes into this episode.
Well, it's 40 minutes into. We talked a lot about other nonsense first, I guess.
Oh, sorry.
We get Sip looking for Albrecht.
Oh shit.
Sip's looking for Albrecht. No, so Sip can track his car, but it's been abandoned.
Right.
So I just want to ask here though, like, why is Sip leading the team? Like, he literally wasn't. Didn't he just get thrown out of the Talamasca basically a minute ago?
Outs with the company, and now he's back, and now he's bossing everyone around and leading a team of investigators to try to find Albrecht, who I guess they are kind of concerned hasn't checked in a while. Like, so
it's been like more than 12 hours, I think, at this point, since he's spoken to anyone from the Talamasca. They don't have any record of him right after midnight.
So they've got their GPS on the vehicle, so it's easy to find. But Sip's sniffing around in it with his little bare hands and can't find anything.
They don't do the angle right, so I couldn't tell. But I think this is under the Huey P. Long Bridge.
Yeah, that's.
The Huey P looks way different than it used to, by the way. I just drove over it like a year ago. We had to take my daughter to the West Bank for a gymnastics event, and we drove over it, and I was like, what did they do to the Huey P? And Kelly's like, oh, they made it safe. I was I had no idea that was even possible. It's amazing.
That was a thing. Also, New Orleans got hit by a giant snowstorm this past week, if you haven't been paying attention. Y'all. And the pictures are incredible.
In particular, go look if you're not in our Facebook group or you're not on Facebook, go find Christopher Rice. He posted these, I think, on his own, like everything. But go find Christopher Rice. He posted some photos of the first street house.
It's so pretty
in the snow. Very, very cool. Also, there's photos posted in various places of the Rice tomb covered in snow as well.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Haven't seen that.
Yeah, really cool. That's the most snow. Like maybe in 100 years in New Orleans. Like it's not been that much in a long, long time. I think it was like 135
years or something crazy like that. It's bananas.
Insane.
The New Orleans hasn't had measurable snow in over 13 years.
Yeah. So when I lived there, we got snow like one day, and there's some great pictures of me and my literally turned 17 yesterday. My oldest baby boy. But he was a baby when we were living down there, and there's pictures of us like up on the levee in the snow. But it snowed maybe like an inch and a half, and then it all melted by the afternoon. It was gone that day.
That's how that goes.
Not this week though, y'all. It's like I think it's still there. Honestly, there's still because the transit's back up today, so it must have melted enough for everything to get rolling.
Everything to start moving.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Sip is looking in the car, but the car has been cleaned of memories.
Yeah.
Okay. We bang on their effects sometime. I like this effect. I like the effect when he touches something and there's nothing there. It's like the static. Yeah. I dig that, honestly.
Yeah. And you can tell where he's touched and where he hasn't. I kind of like that too. It sort of looks like it like steamed up because he touched it or something.
Yes. So Rowan gets up to Lark's room in the Pontchartrain finally, because she's been putting this off because of everything that happened.
Yes.
She sent some crazy texts last night, apparently, to Lark. People were trapped in her home. What? She plays it all off, says she was just drunk. He says he knows her secret why they can't come to her house. It's because the decorating is bad, right? So they have a little giggle over that. But this reminded me, Ashley, if you're not a book reader, here's one of the big things that we're missing so far that's not about all of the files, which some people don't like that much as Ashley and I do. They haven't remodeled the house. And I had this thought like halfway through this episode. I'm like, it's the whole point in the novels now. The house is like fully restored and it's this beautiful thing and the whole family's proud of it again and blah, 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 blah. But because we don't have the character of Michael and the story with Rowan has gone a little different, nobody's working on this house, Ashley.
The house is falling apart. Literally in this episode, the house is falling apart.
Literally. I do wonder, when it started to fall apart a little bit later, I thought, are they going to fucking do the remodel too? They're just going to change the reason why? Yeah, like what in the hell?
Maybe so. I would not be opposed to it.
So Moira writes Daphne a note and is trying to flash it around the room to reach her. I thought that was funny. But Ryan calls
worth a try.
Moira. Yeah, it is worth a try, right? Ryan Mayfair calls Moira and says the family's getting together for a meeting. Why are they getting together, Ashley? To determine a new designee.
Yeah.
They don't have faith in Rowan anymore.
No, she lied to us. Also, she seems a little anti-Lasher. And do we even know? We don't even know what the family is thinking right now. They're all fucking crazy anyway. And Lord.
I do wonder, like...
Are they mad because she said Lasher's been killing them? Is that why they're mad? Are they mad because she lied about why she invited them to the house? Like, why are you mad? What's you're mad about?
The thing that makes me chuckle is, like, based on current events, they may be mad about both simultaneously. Never mind that they are not reasonable together.
Right.
It might be like, how dare you lie to us that Lasher was trying to kill these women? And also how dare you go against Lasher? He's been with us for generations.
That's right. He's been in our family forever.
We just met you last year.
You're brand new, ma'am.
Okay, Cortland, meanwhile, is trying to break out of his room. And Millie comes to taunt him a little bit.
They just left his ass up in Julian's bedroom. I do like Millie I like Millie fucking with him. And I like these scenes of these two together. These are fun.
Okay, I did too, except that something comes clear in this episode, and I don't think it had been clear previously in the show. Millie and Cortland in the show are brother and sister.
Yes.
We talked about it last week. Millie is the daughter, in the books anyway, is the daughter of Remy, who Cortland mentioned last episode. Oh, Uncle Remy's children, such and such and such and such.
Right.
So they should be cousins. But in the show, they're playing them as brother and sister. They are both the child of Julian.
I'm guessing it's because they introduced Millie in the first season and we're like, oh, we can just carry this on.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it.
Which is fine. I enjoy Millie as a... It's all right. There are worse offenses.
I agree. And it's like, look, there's a bunch of them Mayfairs, and most of them were mad at Julian for one reason or another. So it's fine for Millie to be his daughter too, honestly. So Lark is trying to get Rowan to bring her boat to New Orleans and says... something's going on with you, and I think you want to tell me what it is. And I think maybe she was thinking about it, but then she decides no, and suddenly they're interrupted, and she gets an out card because the house is, as you mentioned, falling apart.
Falling the fuck apart.
So Rowan speculates, is this because Lasher's gone too? It would be interesting to me if they literally... So they've tied Rowan's fate to Lasher in that it seems like her powers only really work when he's around.
But if the family's fate, the literal fate of like the house and their fucking existence is built into Lasher,
we got to keep Lasher in New Orleans. Interesting, and we maybe they could just put him a house across the street. Ashley,
is there a carriage house? There's a carriage house. He can live in the carriage house. There's always a carriage house. There's no fucking basements, but there might be a carriage house.
So Rowan's about to call Sip. Moira tells her, she's like, hey, I've tried. He's not answering
my calls.
I think you got to call him. But before they do, Sip, meanwhile, has found the one spot in the car with a memory left in it. And it's of Albrecht telling Lasher that he knows what Lasher is and he knows where he belongs. Now, Albrecht says it to Lasher in the memory, and it sort of feels like soft and what like Albrecht's really on Lasher's side. But again, like knowing what we know about Albrecht,
no,
I don't trust no one. Good. I believe you said earlier.
Yeah, we don't trust nobody.
So Rowan calls and says, "Hey, I need you to swing Lasher by." Sip says, "Oh, tough luck."
Yeah.
See if y'all can find out what Cortland knows. And so they do. Rowan and Moira go to, they're like, fine, we'll go upstairs and read his mind, I guess.
Might as well.
What they find out is that it's not Cortland and Albrecht. We thought Cortland and Albrecht had a connection. No. It was Julian and Albrecht.
That started
Which, if you think about the ages, like Albrecht was literally Julian's boy. They say it. Yeah. Albrecht was Julian's boy or Julian's man. Ashley, if it's Julian from the books, Albrecht was literally his boy, is my guess. Like, might have been his actual son too. Also, his lover and his errand boy and
because it's Julian.
Yeah, Julian is a sick twist.
Julian is a sick twist. Julian, we will yuck some of Julian's yums because they are yucky.
He likes to just make that tree circular.
Yeah.
Let's just make the family tree a bush.
It's a wreath.
A wreath. Exactly. It's a fucking wreath. Oh man. Okay. That's an exciting turn to me. And again, it's absolutely something that does come up in the novel. There's all sorts of interagency fuckery with the Talamasca and the witches in particular. It would make sense that Julian would plan a man like this or something, or have an ongoing relationship with a guy. But to what end exactly? And we don't know yet still.
Right. Because now Albrecht has gone rogue.
Yeah.
It seems like he's gone rogue even as far as like, I mean, definitely as far as the Mayfair family is concerned. Like, he's turned on the Talamasca and on the Mayfair, so he seems to be working on his own agenda now.
It's like one of those seasons of 24 where Jack would start it as a rogue agent from the government, but then halfway through he would somehow become a rogue agent from the Russian government too, or something.
I mean, look, listen, you gotta hold on tight when you only have 24 hours to save the world, Joel.
Oh,
you also have to accept that no one ever pisses or sleeps.
Cortland says that I'll tell you everything over some breakfast, maybe some steak and eggs. Okay, this is one of the funniest sequences in the show so far to me. He says maybe some steak and eggs, and then it cuts to him at the dinner table or the breakfast table in the little kitchen, and he's just pouring a bowl full of some toasted Wheaties or something like that.
Fake Cheerios.
It's fake Cheerios.
Cheerios, healthy Wheatios or something like that.
He starts to pour the milk, and Rowan goes, "You're lucky there's milk."
No shit, man. That was in the way back of the fridge. He did not see that one in there.
Oh man, genuinely, that made me laugh out loud. I thought,
which
okay,
is
that's
nice.
good.
I'm happy
that's
to
good
finally
stuff.
find something to like there's a joke we can laugh. Good, that's cool.
Well, and that's not like, that's genuine humor from the episode, not like, why is this all nonsense and falling apart in front of us? It's not melodrama that makes us laugh. It's just good character. Yeah, it's humor. All right. Okay. So the Victrola comes up now because we got to track it down. We got to figure out how to talk to Julian. And he says, well, where did the Victrola go? Oh no, Dolly took it.
Dolly took the Victrola.
I
like that Dolly just loaded this fucking giant radio record player.
How did Dolly carry that to the car?
Hauled it out of the house on her little trolley. They said Dolly has a trolley.
That's right.
Dolly's
she put it on the trolley.
Jesus, tap dancing Christ. Dolly's got a trolley.
Okay, so Julian's Victrola does have a connection to him in the books.
Yes.
In Lasher in particular, the Victrola is involved in Julian being part of Lasher's comeuppance. Julian, and we've talked about this a little bit already, but like the way that this all plays out in the books seems to be very different than what they're doing in the show. They seem to be pinning this all on Julian. I think next week is going to be very telling on if there's a twist coming here.
Yeah.
I still got my fingers crossed that they might surprise us, because again, there were several things in this episode that I was like the last interaction about the breakfast, like that's good fucking humor out of the characters and out of the situations, and it pays off things that we've seen 3 episodes behind.
Yeah.
That's the kind of humorous moment that we have in Interview with the Vampire that we applaud so much in the middle of the horror and the drama, right?
Absolutely. It's those little moments where they've gone and watched Nosferatu and they're just dying laughing in the back, and then later they're acting it out for each other, and it's fucking adorable and funny. You don't have like that. I think that's honestly something that this show does not have very much of a heart to it.
Yes.
And I think that that's kind of for us what it's missing, because I think that the Mayfair stories definitely do have some heart and some care and interest to them. The characters are a lot different, but you still give a shit about what's going on, and I think for me, I feel a little detached from the story still. I feel like I'm watching a fun story, but it's not the story I was expecting to be told, kind of thing. I don't know, Joel. I don't know anything anymore.
No, I agree. But here's what I see in this episode. I see myself genuinely. You want to talk about like the heart of the show. Okay. And I still don't know that it's again, you and I are reticent to have our fool me once, fool me twice sort of nonsense here. But Harry Hamlin's doing interesting and genuinely fun things in this show, just as he was in season 1. It continues. It's not exactly Cortland from the books. It's not exactly Julian from the books, but it's an amalgamation of an interesting character, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Moira is fun to watch
I
here
like
this
Moira.
season.
Yeah, I do too.
I got to tell you, the Rowan stuff with Lark and the Rowan stuff with Moira are both pretty fun to watch. And I think to myself, boy, you're closing in on a whole show there. Like, it's getting close, Yeah,
that is true. Like, the connections are connecting. I think, I mean, everyone's still pretty split about it in the group, in the crew. There are people that love it.
Yeah.
And also, we had somebody last week that was like, I almost didn't watch this because you guys hate it so much, but I really love it. And I was like, oh my God, no, I am so sorry. That is the last thing we would want. I don't want us to make you not want to watch the show. Like, watch the show,
100%.
love the show, especially because if you love the show, you can tell us why, and then you can help us love it more, because we desperately want to.
Well, and I'll just say, like, I think if Ashley and I actually hated this show, I think we'd probably give it up. I don't know about you, Ashley. I had this conversation with somebody recently. Somebody was like, man, all your movie reviews are like 3 stars or better. I'm like, that's because I don't watch things I'm not going to like.
Why would I watch something I'm going to fucking hate on purpose?
Yep. Yeah,
Time is spy night. Time spy night, bitches.
I will DNF a book. I
I
don't do it often because I don't start one that I don't think I'm going to enjoy, and I'm mostly right about my taste.
Yeah, I will DNF. I'll DNF the hell out of some shit. I've started a movie and stopped it 2 minutes in because I was like, nope, not in the mood for that. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm not in the mood for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what I'm saying to you about this series too. If we have kept you out of it so far, or if just in general you watched 1 or 2 and you're like, it ain't for me, try a little season 2, see if it is for you.
Yeah.
If you don't like it though, don't feel bad about not watching it, y'all. Don't watch things that you don't like.
But by all means, like, if you like it, we're not going to yuck your yum.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do see us genuinely, even in the episodes that we don't care for, we find those moments that are hints of things that we do like, right? Like parts of this are from the books, and we love those books. We love those books for 30 years. So like, we're down. We're down. So this Victrola stuff sort of is from the book. They changed quite a bit of it here, but again, it is a moment where like somebody read Lasher. Maybe nobody read The Witching Hour, but somebody read Lasher.
It's for sure. Yeah.
Very impressive. Okay, the way they get to it here is a little dumb though. I love. So they're talking about, like, Harry Hamlin notices that it's, where'd the Victrola go? Oh, I think Dolly took it. And then Rowan goes, when I read about Julian in the diaries, that Victrola would just start playing suddenly. I wonder if that means anything.
I wonder if that might be related in my haunted fucking house full of ghosts.
Are Shaggy and Scooby in the next room coming back from snacks about to explain this to you all? Like, come on. You didn't mention it. You didn't think anything when the Victrola magically played? Like, anyway. Okay, but fine. Now we're on to it.
Yeah, you live in a haunted witch house and you didn't take that seriously?
So we cut to Lark. He's back in his hotel room. She's told him, hey, just go back to New York. I'll come see you. Don't even worry about it. So he's packing up. And then he thinks, she acted like that DNA was part of her family. I'm going to test this breakfast she was eating.
Yep. Here's her cup with her lipstick all over it.
I wonder what he's gonna find.
Guess what? If you left it, it's free. It's free for anybody that wants to pick it up. The police, your ex-lover that's also a DNA researcher, anybody.
I do wonder. Okay, so he makes a phone call to the foundation and he says, do we have any connections with the lab at Lavelle University? Lavelle's invented. There's like 4 universities in New Orleans. I don't know why
he just picked one, but that's fine.
Tulane, man. Tulane's the one. Just say, do we have any connections at Tulane Lab?
We don't want to get sued, Joel, or have to pay
maybe.
them.
That's yeah. So that's it. They didn't want to put a logo up. Good call. Good call.
We don't want to pay them.
So Sip is in Albrecht's office now, searching for stuff or memories.
What a dumb office this is, by the way. Also, I'm sure he's cleaned it out, but like, there's nothing in his drawers, and his desk is like an old teacher's desk from 1964. Like, what is this office?
I mean, even if Albrecht's mostly like a figurehead or like a like literally just like a send them all out and doesn't do anything himself, he'd still have shit in his office. Like, it's not. Yeah, I agree.
Pens?
That was a very empty
Albrecht?
office.
Shit. It's just these weird binders full of women back there.
The only thing that Sip can find, though, is there's ashes in the fireplace, and there's one stray piece of paper that wasn't burnt, and it says Taltos.
Taltos. I wonder if that's important later, Joel.
I wonder.
There's a bottle of booze. He leaves him a bottle of booze with like an actual like, hey, Sip, this is how I screwed you over. Have fun. Have a drink on me. I fucked you.
It is funny. He like clearly wiped a bunch of memories somehow from all the places, right?
All over the place.
But he left the one like reminder.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that you can use Sip's powers in that way. You can like leave him a nasty message, like touch something and be like, "You're a dick." Hey, remember when you said this but did that? I hate you.
I always hated you, and your mother dresses you funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so just as he finds the slip of paper, though, he's interrupted by Polina Vilkov from Amsterdam. Sip is headed to Amsterdam, Ashley. He's going to get interrogated about Albrecht's stealing Lasher and Albrecht's disappearance.
Let's do it!
I was like, I can't. Are they really going to? And then we see a scene later that now makes me think maybe he won't actually. Maybe this Amsterdam is all a ploy.
It's just
they're not really going to take us there.
Check off Amsterdam. We're never going to see it.
I know, right? But at least we did get, some hint of the outside Talamasca. Also, again, confirmation that Albrecht is not working with the elders of the Talamasca. He's got his own agenda of some sort.
Yeah, 100%.
One assumes
100%.
now it's involved in Julian's agenda. Now, what was that?
Yes. We must get into the record player to find out, Joel.
So we get to Dolly Jean's house. She's hiding in the house, playing with Julian, Ashley.
So fucking weird.
A little patty cake.
I love this, though. It's so strange. She's acting so strange. It's very, very akin to, like, if you're looking through because they look through the window and see her. It's very much like, if you've watched Haunting of Hill House, it's like Nell when she goes back to the house right before, things happen to Nell. And she's, like, dancing through the house, and she's in a memory or a spell, and it's just crazy. This is what this reminded me of. I was like, this doesn't end well for people.
It made me think about dementia patients. Sometimes you'll see them do something like this where somebody's not there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting though here. Okay, let's talk real quick about, we mentioned Evelyn. So Evelyn was Dolly's sister. She owned the bar. She got attacked by Lasher, and she's the one that ended up stabbing Lasher with the beer bottle in the previous episode. What we didn't mention in the episode, and somebody pointed out in the comments, Evelyn is a character from the books, except she's ancient. Evelyn in the books.
900.
She's very, very, very old. And she did have a relationship with Julian in the books, but you got to remember, because like Cortland is also already dead in the modern storyline in the novels. So like that's a generation back, and Julian's a generation behind him, and
Right.
both of them were long lived. So for Evelyn to have been around and been involved with Julian's life, and to still be alive in the modern day storyline, she's earned her ancient title.
Yeah.
Anyway, bunch of people last week were like, "Oh, it's weird that they used Evelyn, but I didn't even think about it because she's not ancient Evelyn," and blah 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 blah.
When someone said that, I was like, "Oh, holy shit! I didn't even think about that."
She is ancient Evelyn, though.
She is ancient Evelyn.
Oh my gosh.
We watched her age before our eyes. She is she puts a glamour on herself to stay youthful looking.
Well, and we don't see it, but my guess is that so does Dolly. And my guess is that as old as Evelyn looks when she's in her true form, that she should look older than that, is my guess, probably. She might be 102 or some such. Why do they have the Victrola, Ashley?
Why do they have the Victrola?
Yeah, why did these two sisters want to?
Because they're taking turns hanging out with their lover Julian inside the fucking record player. They're sharing him. Look, listen, sisters share a lot of things. I have an older sister. Her name is Megan. I love her very much. I used to steal clothes out of her closet, and she hated me for a long time. But you don't share. You don't share your uncle in the record player.
Nasty old man. So Evelyn says Julian bound himself to the Victrola before his death so that we can continue our passion indefinitely. What? I love those. She goes, "You and Julian, or Dolly Jean and Julian?" And she goes, "We take turns."
We take turns. All right. Look, whatever. This family's fucking weird. Can you imagine, like this is your family and you just found them, and this is your fucking weird family?
Well, here's my question. Have these two ladies been taking turns in the front room at the Mayfair house all this time?
Or no, they've been because Millie is keeping them away from. They haven't been able to be with Julian. Millie has been keeping him away from them.
That's right. That's their deal. So that's why they're so ecstatic. They finally got it back.
They're so excited to have him back. Yeah.
Damn, that's funny. Okay, all right. Interesting. Honestly, this is some changes I don't mind. That's cool. Also, it's like incestuous, sexy nonsense. Okay, yeah, that's the witching hour,
the
man.
Mayfairs. That's the witches, y'all. That's what we're looking for. This is weird and excellent. Give me these weird sisters.
Okay, so our Julian, Evelyn says, our Julian was a clever and loving man, but merciless to his enemies. So we have not seen that Julian yet. We saw nasty Cortland's dream Julian, and that was all that we got to see. I wonder what they're going to give us next episode.
Yeah,
we get a glimpse, which looks very different too.
But this
Julian
different.
that she's hinting at, a clever and loving man, but merciless to his enemies.
That sounds like the Julian we know.
Could they still give us Julian? Like maybe?
Are we only seeing a version of Julian through the eyes of who is spending time with him? I don't know. And is there a real version that we'll see eventually?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. I'm so excited now. All right, so Moira goes to grab the Victrola because they're going to take it home. Dolly tells Rowan if she's going to go in, do it at your house.
Where you're comfortable and you're most powerful. Yeah. Which is it's reasonable talk. Like, Dolly's not even like, well, don't do it. That's stupid. But she's like, if you're going to do it, might as well take that record player out of my fucking house. Don't die in my living room. Go die at your own house.
But Evelyn's like, no, you can't have it. Back and forth they're going. And then Moira goes to grab the Victrola, and she starts ranting about the blood of God's favorite children, and then screaming the word Taltos, Taltos, Taltos. Y'all, we're 4 episodes into season 2, and they're saying the word out loud. Yeah. I genuinely cannot believe it.
Beetlejuice.
No spoilers, but the 3rd book is named Taltos. So it does matter. In fact,
if you read it out of order, it's kind of confusing.
Oh, it's so these books, man. Whew, that would not make any sense at all.
I know, that's why I had to stop reading Teltos and start reading The Witching Hour. I was like, what the fuck is this?
What is this? I'm super excited. I'm so surprised. I thought the little slip of paper, it's just like, okay, the first episode, we get a mention of Julian and then we see him, or the second episode, I guess. Here, we got Teltos on the paper and I was like, oh, look at that, a little Easter egg, a little foreshadowing for us. No, they're going straight to it. Like, I think we're going to hear about this next week from Julian.
Yeah, or I would think within this season, because I imagine we'll be in for a season 3 here or two, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely think this is going to get a season 3. I haven't heard about the ratings for season 2, but like genuinely season 2, 4 episodes in anyway, is a better series than season 1 was.
Oh, yeah,
and season 1 did great.
Yeah.
So, but what they haven't done, I think, is lose any of that mainstream audience. The audience that dug season 1 should be digging this as well.
And then the
there
audience
should be some folks like us
should be more into it, you know.
Yeah. Okay, here we get Moira and Rowan. So Moira finally wakes up in the hospital. She basically went unconscious after she's ranting and raving. And they're talking to each other like, well, you know, what happened? And Moira can't really remember exactly what happened. She's just telling Rowan, please don't go in there. Rowan's like, hey, I got to. He knows what is going on, and he's the only one that does, and I'm the only one that can figure it out. And so Moira says, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
Rowan at first tells her no, and then Moira, she's like, yeah, you don't trust me. Rowan says, no, I actually do. I do trust you. I loved this scene, honestly.
I did too.
And it's not,
and I
this
like
is not something we really get in the books.
No, but I mean, yeah, no, not at all. I like that. I like these two kind of figuring each other out, and I like their scenes together. I think that that's a kind of a good showing of like two women that it's in their best interest probably to work together, but they're not sure how to do it yet. And it's like figuring out where the trust lies and how much you can tell the other, you know, how much you're willing to give away. And also keep yourself in your own personal secrets that you need to keep safe. It's great. I love it. They're playing some chess, but it's getting emotional because they're, you know, family and they are starting to like each other, starting to genuinely like each other, I think too.
Well, I also think that the two like groups in this show, that both the Talamasca and the Mayfair family would prefer that these women not be together on anything, right? I think the family would prefer them to be adversaries because it's helpful to them to have these two powerful women be adversarial.
Yeah, and Moira's a pain in everyone's ass already. Like she has been clearly. Like she's
the known pain though. That's the other thing that occurred to me. Like, why would Ryan call her? First of all, nobody else has power like this, or I think the show would have shown us that, right? Probably lots of the women in the family, based on what we know about this show, have some witchiness. We've seen them do rituals and spells and things like that. But they make a big deal about the fact that Moira can read minds. That's because nobody else can read minds, is my guess.
Yeah, I think that's like probably a more specialized skill that she has. And I think there's probably each of them has a little something going on, you know. I think that they kind of set it up sort of that way. But I think that and reading minds is very powerful, and it makes people feel very vulnerable and very overly cautious, I would think, if you're around somebody that you think has your number like that. Yeah.
Oh, I love, we didn't mention it earlier, but when they were trying to read Cortland's mind, I think it's at one point he starts singing Camptown Races.
Yeah, he's just singing. Oh no, it's oh shit, what was it? But yes, he's singing like old shit. It's so funny.
It's like literally like cartoon soundtracks is what I heard when I was
so
like, this
funny.
is,
yeah, 100%.
I knew these from Looney Tunes.
Yeah, this is some Looney Tunes shit. Foghorn Leghorn's like doesn't want to be mind read.
Oh man. All right, our finish for the episode is Rowan goes to do the ritual to get inside of the Victrola, and I was like totally caught off guard that the episode was wrapping up too. I was like, that was the end. Oh damn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought we had time left. The ritual was interesting to me. So she pricks her finger on the needle of the Victrola and puts a little blood on the record, and then Dolly Jean tells Evelyn or Moira to bring her the bottle out of her purse, and she says it's much better in one gulp. So Rowan downs it, and then immediately fades into the dream. And it's cool. Like, it seems like it's sort of trippy, and there's a interesting light show, you know, and then whoop, out on the room, and over the shoulder, we get our first glimpse of Julian, I guess the real Julian, as it were.
Sitting at the fireplace, all I could think was, strong men also cry. Strong men also cry.
So it's funny. I don't know if it was like the clothes he was wearing or just sitting by the fireplace, or maybe the fact that I had literally just edited the last episode of you all talking about House of Usher. He made me think of Roderick Usher in that rundown house that he sits in for most of the show.
Definitely. There's a little crossover.
Do you know what this bottle of sherry cost?
Oh my God, what a dick.
Julian, by the way, would absolutely tell everybody what his liquor cost.
100%, and he would be the one. He is very Roderick-like in a lot of ways. My God,
absolutely. So the look is very different here. He's got long hair. He's got a beard. He's not.
He looks disheveled. He doesn't look like. He looks very tidy and like very, you know.
Well, we even said like a little fancy, you know. It was like
his hair looks. I was like, his hair looks good, you know. Like,
yes,
like he looks good. He's all dressed up, and he's but this version.
But he was so greasy and disgusting in that last one. Not disgusting here. Worn. Also, he looks angry, but not in the same way as when we last saw him at the end of that last episode, where Cortland comes out of the mine prison and he yells Rowan's name. It was like he was like vengeful.
Yeah.
This looks like he is, boy, the machinations are happening, and I'm about to get to make my next move, you know, determined, whatever. Anyway, again, I'm still hopeful that there's a twisty attorney here, but even if they end up following through with what the implication has been so far, which is like Julian's basically going to be our big bad, I think we're going to get some interesting things out of Ted Levine here, and it's going to be different at least than the last time, so I'm up for that too.
As long as he doesn't sound like Buffalo Bill, I'm doing okay.
She big fat person.
She big fat person. What are you, about a size 14? Asshole.
Can Lasher help me move my couch? Just climb in the van. All right. Pretty good episode. I didn't love that there's a magic potion. There was a reference about, they mentioned that Millie talks about father reinforced all the locks with spells. I'm like, I don't think that's a thing. The Mayfair house is not like that. But
it just kind of makes sense that like then Cortland not being able to get out of that bedroom, you know, like kind of makes a little bit of sense, and maybe it's just a little nod to that, and nothing like serious that's going to matter.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like again, if I divorce myself from the bookness of it all, it's beginning to be a cohesive whole in a way that I can get behind and be excited about. That's what I think it's angling there. Super excited to see episode 5, y'all. It's like, what is it in poker? You get 4, and then the river is the turn is the 5th card, right?
No, the very last one is the
that's the river?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're not there yet, I guess.
Because I remember thinking a lot of times you get that last card and you're like, river motherfucker, that ruined my whole fucking hand.
I had a plan, man.
Gambling will get you every time, kid.
I dreamed a dream in times gone by. That's another one we could watch in times like these, folks. Everybody go watch Les Mis this week.
Just so you can see people that are worse off than you are. Which is why
I'm
watching Grey's Anatomy.
Can you hear the people sing? All right, I'm gonna go sing some songs of Angry Men, and join us again in a week or so. We're gonna talk about episode 5. Can you believe it? We're almost done with season 2 of Mayfair Witches,
we're like
y'all.
we're at the halfway point.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so 8 episodes this season. We're right at midway right now.
Yeah.
Much better than we were at midpoint, I think, season 1. I would say
my spirits are much higher about this show at this point.
Is that just because the world's gotten worse since then, Ashley?
Maybe Joel, I think we're not going to ask those complicated questions. We're just going to accept what the universe gives us and say yes and try to roll on with it.
Ashley, have you heard about the theater disease that's going around?
Oh, God. What is it?
Yes and. That's what you're supposed to say. You're not supposed to say, what is it? You're not supposed to say, no, I haven't heard about the theater's age. You're supposed to, yes, and I've heard it's very bad.
It's very bad.
Absolutely.
Yes, and
I saw a funny reel about the yes and disease the other day. Anyway,
that is
all right.
hilarious. I like that as an improviser. I fucked that up.
No. What's so funny is that you always yes and me. You never, I talk about this all the time, but like, I'll say the most inane shit. And even when Ashley disagrees with it, she's like, that is an interesting way to look at it. And let me tell you the way that I look at it.
Yes, and.
Exactly.
Yes, and. Everyone loves it. It's a great form of communication.
All right, we're going to yes and this series on into episode 5. I hope you do the same. We mentioned Fall of the House of Usher earlier. If you are listening to this, then Fall of the House of Usher is already available for you.
Oh, it is.
The whole series. You can go and watch that on Netflix, and then you can watch or listen to Ashley and Brett talk about it. They've done a great job of breaking that series down.
You hear us bitch about our cat as well, just as a little side story if you want. Like, but the cat's settling in beautifully. His name is Flintlock Whiskey Barrel, and he's doing just well in the house.
Isn't there a second cat incoming?
No, we have put the feelers out because we don't want this cat to be a dickhead. Because apparently if you only have one cat, they'll be assholes, which is never anything I've run into, but I've never really had a cat that was a dick before. This is new for me.
We have 2 cats, and they were fine for a long time. But then suddenly we went on a long vacation, and we were out of the house for 8 days, 9 days or something like that. Other people were in and out, but we were not here.
Right.
I think the cats fought while we were gone, and they have never been able to be in the same room since we got back. So
that's hilarious. They had a falling out.
I guess so. The younger one needs his testicles taken care of, and I'm working on that. But until we do that, they literally just have to be separated all the time now. It's not
That's
fun.
Hilarious. No, that's not fun.
What is wrong with you, man?
Cats are wild. Yeah, this guy's going to get his nuts cut. You can't just have them roaming free like that.
They literally just spray the house sometimes.
It's so
it's
awful.
Not cool,
and they're just feral as fuck. It doesn't matter how tame you think your cat is. If you leave those balls on, feral.
Ashley, did you and I just do a PSA for Akasha's plan?
Oh my god. We just did Bob Barker's message. Help control the pet populations. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
Spay and neuter your pets, folks. Spay and neuter your pets. All right. Until next time, we will be back with more Bob Barkerisms and more witches.
Yes, and much more.
Whatever a Taltos is.
Whatever that's going to be.
What?
They might change it completely, though, which is the hilarious thing.
I know, right? That is.
It might just be some guy's name. It might just be some guy's name.
Oh, don't do that to me. I mentioned Flanagan, but I should say, watch out soon. The next thing that you'll see from Flanagan, Ashley and I are going to do a couple of movie nights. These will be spaced out. We'll take a few weeks off in between them all, but we're going to do Gerald's Game, and we're going to do Dr. Sleep.
Yes.
And then our patrons right now are voting on the next series from Flanagan that we'll do. So we've got The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, and Midnight Club are the 3 that are still hanging out there right now. Although in the future, we're going to have Carrie and all sorts of other stuff to talk about over there on Flanagan.
I'm so excited.
Very exciting. All right. Until next time, we have been your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. Thanks for listening to The Articulate Coven. If you enjoyed the show, check out our groups on Facebook and Discord. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Or find us at articulatecoven.com and wherever you listen to podcasts.